Yeah, one of the questions I often get asked is, Julie, how did you become a speaker? Because I guess, I haven't won a gold medal in the Olympics. I haven't written a best-selling book, although I have written a book now, so I'm sure it'll be a bestseller soon. And I haven't had a business that's made millions and millions of dollars. So how do you become a professional speaker? And so this is a little how my journey began. So I was in the hairdressing industry and I was in a role as an educator. So training hairdressers how to use our products and how they work, etc. So putting a lot of information in their head, and of course there was some skill involved as well. But what I started to notice was there was a huge gap between putting information in people's heads and giving them the skill set, but nurturing their hearts and having that information then given to the clients in an inspiring way that would inspire people to do business with them. So for me, that was more the area that I became passionate about and working on that area. And so I started developing formats around more of an inspirational, motivational style of theme and about creating confidence, owning the vision of what we do. And I started doing that in the hairdressing industry, and the feedback was so fantastic that I could see that it was obviously something that people wanted. And so I started doing training sessions in the hairdressing industry, and I'd pack up my little whiteboard and go to a salon and set it up, and might have 5 hairdressers sitting in the room, and I would perform like I was Oprah and I was staged with millions, because you take the audience that you've got and you give your best to it, and then those hairdressers would tell other hairdressers, and before you knew it, a hairdressing company had heard about what I was doing, and they sort of said, oh, well, Julie, would you like to come and do a tour with us? And they said, come and do a seminar. And I thought, oh my God, I do seminars, I don't do training anymore, look at me go. So I did that for a couple of years, so through word of mouth, and I did that for a couple of years, and that was in Melbourne, and I moved back to Queensland and I joined the Professional Speakers Association, an association for the development of speakers, and because I wanted to grow and develop my speaking ability, the craft of speaking and the business of speaking. And they had a speaking competition on, and I went into that competition. I came second in a heat in Brisbane in Queensland, and then I would go on to win that competition nationally. So I thought, look at me go, I'm a professional speaker. And so it kind of evolved from there. But I found my true calling, I've got to say, a few years ago when a client actually emailed me from Newcastle, and she said to me, Julie, when are you bringing your show to town? Suddenly it's a show. It's not a seminar anymore, it's a show. So, my message evolved, and the way I presented as a speaker evolved as my life evolved, and it came from the feedback from my audience. And I learned very quickly that, you can have a great story, but you don't just have to have the great story. You have to have an ability to inspire an audience to come along on the journey with you. You have to not just take them on a journey of giving them information. You have to take them on a journey of having them feel your message. Because the truth is, we action what we feel. So we need the emotion around the message. We don't just need the message, we need the emotional connection to the message. So, the reason that people don't get up and go for a walk in the morning is not because they don't know how to walk. Most people have all the equipment required and the data on how good walking is for you. We know that already. It's got something to do with the emotional attachment to knowing that they're worth the walk. And so I quickly discovered that was where my niche was, and that's where my talent was, and that was the feedback that I was getting from my audiences. And so it really just evolved from there, and I can proudly say that after 20 years in this business, it has all been word of mouth. It has been my audiences going and telling somebody else about me, and they truly have lifted me to success, and for that I'm very grateful. And it's a journey I just love, and I look forward to continuing. So thanks for asking.